The Hat Man is a figure seen across the world and across time. He's part of the shadow people phenomena. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe he's something else entirely. What if in ancient times he wasn't called the Hat Man, but instead a Djinn? In this episode, we'll look into the possible origins of an ancient entity that wears multiple faces. By the end, you'll walk away with a theory that nobody else is talking about. One that ties these haunting experiences to something much older. Stranger, and maybe even more dangerous than pop culture ever showed us. Let's start simple. It's late. You're tucked in. Maybe scrolling your phone, or just fighting off sleep. Suddenly, you sense someone. That chest-tightening fear. Maybe paralysis. And then you see him, blacker than the dark, wearing a broad-brimmed hat. Maybe a trench coat. Standing at the foot of your bed. He doesn't move. He barely seems human. But you know he's looking at you. You're not alone. Reports of this shadowy figure, the Hat Man, come in from all over the globe. But he goes by many names. Midnight, daylight, old houses, apartments, city streets, doesn't matter. The description is eerily constant. So here's the weirdest part. Why do so many strangers in wildly different cultures see the same thing? Scientists say sleep paralysis. Your brain's half awake, half dreaming, and the mind fills the blank with whatever scares you most. Fine, except that's not enough, because these shadow people aren't just popping up in paralysis. Sometimes people see them wide awake, and not just once, but over and over. And they are not always called the Hat Man. Check out world folklore. Long before modern medicine, people from the Choctaw tribe to medieval Europeans. And across the Arabian Peninsula described shadowy, formless beings who lurk in darkness. They creep at the edge of vision, slip beneath beds or behind doors, some even choked and tormented sleepers. Sound familiar? Now this is where tonight's story gets juicy. Across the sands of ancient Arabia, the locals whispered about something called the Djinn, not the I dream of genie type, not wish granters, but entities made of smokeless fire. They weren't evil or good, just ambiguous. Sometimes they helped, other times they deceived, possessed, or outright attacked. Here's the twist. Djinn are said to dwell in abandoned or desolate places, avoiding humans unless disturbed. They can shift forms, become invisible, sometimes appear as animals, or, crucially, as human-shaped shadows. Even today, in parts of Egypt and Turkey, people still blame Djinn for sleep paralysis, sudden fear, or mysterious guests at night. So what if shadow people and the Hat Man aren't new at all? What if as human cultures evolve, ancient entities like the Djinn simply update their disguises? Maybe that familiar hat and coat is their latest version, a look to blend in with our stories and pop culture, but still ancient at their core. Ask yourself, the Hat Man doesn't talk, rarely moves, but always radiates that sense of power and otherness. It's a presence, not a person. That's just how Djinn show up in centuries of stories, watchful, waiting, sometimes menacing, almost always hidden. Now here's where it gets wild. Some people who encounter the Hat Man or shadow people report real-world effects. Bad dreams, a run of bad luck, even sudden illness. In other cultures, these are classic signs of a Djinn encounter. Amulets, prayers, rituals, these are ancient tools to fight off Djinn, and bizarrely, people scared of the Hat Men instinctively try similar things. The pattern repeats, generation after generation. Let me ask you, what's scarier? A random hallucination? Or a visitor who's been haunting humanity for thousands of years, slipping on new shapes for every era? Maybe we're not just victims of our own brains. Maybe these shadowy visitors know how to pick the moment we're most vulnerable, alone at night or uncertain. And isn't it weird that cultures separated by oceans with no connection at all still have shadow figures at the center of their myths? It's not just one-off spirits, but persistent, clever beings who live just outside the spotlight until you notice them. So, if the Hat Man is the Djinn in disguise, what should we do? History says, don't panic. Don't make deals. Don't invite these visitors in. Awareness is protection. Rituals and prayers work for a reason. Belief itself creates a buffer. And maybe talking about our experiences takes power away from the fear. So there you have it, Hat Man, shadow people, and the Djinn. The same ancient phenomenon dressed up for a new age. If you see him, you're not alone. And you're not crazy, you're part of a story older than any one culture. And if the Hat Man and the Djinn are linked, what about other creatures? Elves, fairies, and the list goes on. Look out for future videos where I'll explore these possibilities as well. Drop a comment if you've met the Hat Man, fought off shadow people, or grew up hearing tales about the Djinn. Thank you for watching Phenomena tonight. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend who's seen the shadows. And remember, stay curious, stay odd, and above all, don't let the darkness have the last word.